What name does the creator of all things call me? Written by Tabitha, a disciple of Israel. Illustrated by Sister Katrina. What name does the creator of all things call me? Of all the names given to us, which one is our true identity? And why are there so many? I wonder what the adults will say. Let's ask and see. Like any kid would, I started with Mommy. Mama! What name does the creator of all things call me? Jacob, baby, you black. And it's simple as that. But Mama, how could that be? Black is simply a color of the shoes on my feet, the TV screen, or Daddy's special tugs. You know, the one you like so much, Mama? Black is just a color. It doesn't really describe us. Surprisingly, she agreed. Baby, that's all right and true, but that's just what we do. Most folks don't really have a clue. I walk away still confused. I mean, with so many different names, you would too. The next day, I thought to ask my granny and papa about it. But when I did, they became saddened. Jacob, Negro was all we had. Living under Jim Crow laws was real bad. Could make you go mad. But the movement gave us freedom at last, Papa said. On their faces, I saw the pain of many years spent fighting races. Their activism made things easier for young people like me. Public bathrooms and classrooms were just a few of the spaces they freed. I could only say, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that. Still, in the back of my mind, I knew that in Spanish, Negro means black. And as I listened more, I was still confused. With so many names, you would be too. Back up the street, I ran into Mr. Clyde, a friend of the family. He knew a lot about everything, so I asked him, what name does the creator of all things call me? With a grin on his face, Colored would be my best guess. Colored? Mr. Claude, you don't think that's far-fetched. And with the even bigger grin, he replied, a little, but son, that's what they would call us for fun. They knew us more than we did. And definitely not black. Problem is, a lot of our history got lost from way back, gone without a trace. Well then, it got to be someplace, I said, now with a grin on my face. Yep, that's right, young fella. And the answer is usually staring you right in the face. Jacob just kept looking. I'm sure you'll figure it out sometime, someday. With Mr. Clyde's cheerful motivation, I picked up the pace. But still, I was confused. With all these different names, you would be too. The next day at school, I asked my teacher, Miss Tito, what name does the creator of all things call me? With such a great mind and afro, I thought for sure she would know. She walked over to the shelf, pulled down a book, turned the page and told me, take a look. Jacob, you see in 1980s, a civil rights leader named Jesse campaigned so we could be called African American to show pride in both sides. Pride? But why? Africa is a continent of 54 countries. Wouldn't we be playing a guessing game? Plus, Miss Tito, I know I'm not so great at math, but you were born in the 1970s. And so that would make you older than our identity? Well, Jacob, I haven't thought of all of that. Still, it's a fact. And most prefer African American to black. I closed the book, still confused. With all these different names, you would be too. On the way home, I stopped by my big cousin Kenny's house. Though he's always gaming and uses a lot of profanity, he usually talking about something deep. So I asked him, cuz, what name does the creator of all things call us? His answer made me want to shout, bruh. He said, my N-word. If the creator was real, we have a piece in the hood and everything would be all good. But it ain't. That's why in our community, shoot, in America, we got the same enemy for centuries. To them, we just a bunch of N-words, you feel me? To that, I could only sigh. Everyone had a different identity and no good reason why. The confusion made me just want to cry. Feeling hopeless and sad, I was out of people to ask, so I began jogging my memory for things my dad would always say to me. And just then, I remembered him saying, Jacob, when you're confused and don't know what to do, just talk to you know who. So that night, I prayed long and hard that the Creator would show me exactly who we are. Soon, I fell fast asleep and began to dream an amazing dream. When I woke, the tallest mountain I had ever seen was standing right before me and was blazing. A voice sounding like crashing waves began to speak. It was the Creator of all things. He asked me, Jacob, are you ready? Startled, I said in a hurry, for what, Almighty? To learn your true identity. Just then, Daddy's Bible fell into my lap and opened to the 28th chapter of Deuteronomy. Read, he said to me. I couldn't believe what was happening. Numbers and words began to float up from the page and get stuck in the flames. I replied, Deuteronomy 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Confused and a bit dazed, I couldn't help but say, Creator, what does all this mean? He said to me, long ago, my chosen people did not listen. They did evil things like murder, stealing, and idolatry. For this, I punished them and their sons, the Israelites. My people are your people, and their struggle is described from here on. Now read, son. Suddenly, the book began to shake, and like before, numbers and words flew from the page. This time, they say, Deuteronomy 28, verse 16, Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field. From the smoke arose images of ghettos and cotton fields. It all looked so real. Suddenly, again, the book began to shake. Numbers and words flew from the page and again got stuck in the flames. Read, young man, he said again. Deuteronomy 28, verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hand. And again, from the smoke arose the worst of images, my ancestors having their children taken away from them. And again, the book began to shake. Numbers and words flew from the page and got stuck in the flames. This time, he didn't have to say anything. It was obvious. My history, I wanted to read. Deuteronomy 28, verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. Up from the smoke came images of black men with shackles around their throats and a poor woman living under Jim Crow. And again, the book began to shake. Numbers and words flew from the page and got stuck in the flames. This last time, they say, Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto thine enemies for bondmen and bondwoman, and no man shall buy you. I thought slavery. Wow, it couldn't be. But it makes sense. And from the smoke arose a terrible scene. I was ready to end this dream. Unable to watch anymore, I shouted, "So Creator, Israelite, is that who you call me? Is that the name I've been looking for?" "Yes, indeed," he replied. "Now, Jacob, study your Bible, pray for wisdom, and apply. Do that, and you will reclaim your name. But for now, I must go. Goodbye, my son. It was fun." The next morning, when I woke from my dream, I couldn't stop smiling. I looked in the mirror to see a confident face staring back at me. There was no more confusion. Now I had the answer I was seeking. Israelites. Israelites. That's what the Creator of all things called me.